because we tend to define ourselves by our physical makeup, by how we look, by the things that we do, and by the situations that we experience, without the deeper understanding of our eternal nature, then we hold on to trauma, right? We hold on to guilt and shame because we hold ourselves to standards that the world has for us rather than our own standards. Shame is the feeling of a deep embarrassment or a deep insecurity of like feeling unworthy of being happy, of having good things, right? Because of the guilt we feel of the things that we've done in the past, or the guilt we feel of not living up to a standard that somebody has projected onto us. A lot of the times, sometimes we hold on to shame and guilt for the things that we do, but most of the time it's from what other people have projected onto us, right? And or our circumstance, right? If somebody has been abusive in our life, right, since we were a child, then we might tend to see ourselves as inadequate in who we are, right? I remember growing up, I felt completely embarrassed just to be, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have to do anything, but I was embarrassed in my being because of somebody who was abusive to me, growing up. So I got that projection of feeling inadequate because somebody was constantly telling me I was inadequate. And I didn't have the wherewithal. I didn't know to tell myself that I was not inadequate. You know what I'm saying? So I lived in that guilt. I lived in that shame. I felt guilty for not being good enough, right? I felt like it was my fault, like I was doing something wrong for not being good enough. You know what I'm saying? But the shame was that deep feeling of inadequacy. I felt like I hated who I was. I was embarrassed to be who I was. You know what I'm saying? Because there was no because. I just did because I didn't fit into. Not only did I not, it was hard to make friends. I didn't fit in or whatever, but being constantly told that you're doing something wrong or that you are wrong, right? It's not even doing something wrong. It's like the feeling of being wrong. So it's like a feeling of shame, a feeling of lowliness that you hold on to so tightly, like, and there's no reasoning because it's a brainwash. There was nothing that was telling me why, I was not good enough. But I mean, the shallow things like, the way I looked did not live up to a standard. I was too fat. I was too short. I was too fat. I was too, I liked to eat. You know what I'm saying? I was too quiet. I didn't have a lot of friends. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard for me to connect with people. So that was preyed on. All of those things that made me who I was preyed on. And so I thought who I was bad. And then I didn't have my own identity, right? I was shaped by the projections of an abuser. You know what I'm saying? So that was my story. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of stories out there where people feel inadequate within themselves because of things that people projected onto them. You understand? Like, and they hold on to it as their truth because there is not a self-awareness, because the self-awareness is shrouded in everything that people poured onto them and everything that they're facing every day, right? So when you have that feeling of shame, it's not that after a while people don't have to put it onto you, right? So you feel it within yourself. So you maintain that shame, and you maintain that guilt. You know what I'm saying? Until you're able to turn the lens around to you, to understand what it is that's causing you so much pain, to understand why. You know what I'm saying? It took me a long time to ask the question why. You know what I'm saying? Why do I feel this way? Why am I living this way? Why do I feel inadequate? You know? what do I feel like I deserve? You know what I'm saying? And when I realized I felt like I deserved nothing, that's when I wanted to change it, because it was, I felt like I deserved nothing, but I felt like it, I felt like it was unfair. You know what I'm saying? Because I had not lived yet to be in such a low place. Because when I turned that lens around, I realized who was causing that havoc in my life, who was the narcissist, who was the abuser in my life. And then I realized for myself that I would kept perpetuating it, that I allowed myself to be abused, whether it was from childhood or not. You know, there was no point in my life where this was not taking place. So it was my norm from the beginning. But when I started to realize, I started to, you know, not only feel angry at that person, but I was angry at myself, you know, for letting it happen. You know what I'm saying? When I started to get that appreciation for who I was, when that started to come in, I started to become angry with myself for for giving up my power, for allowing that to happen. You know what I'm saying? I was angry with everything and everybody. I was angry with that person. I was angry with the lords of the universe for allowing that to happen. Like, why would God allow that to happen? Why would anybody allow that to happen to a child, right? I was angry at the people around who just, saw and didn't do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody came to the rescue or anything like that. And left me, gaslit, like everything was okay. And I didn't come to the actual realization of what was going on until like my mid 20s, you know what I'm saying? But that's when I realized, like, dang, like, you know, I was a punching bag, and I was that's exactly who I was. I was soft. I was allowing everybody, not only this person, but because this person treated me this way, I didn't think I deserved better. So I allowed people like this to come into my life all the time and treat me a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And I would love them because of it. You know what I'm saying? That it's a narcissist empath dynamic. You know what I'm saying? It sounds cliche, but it's not a cliche thing. They're two energies that come together like magnets, and it happens over and over again until the lesson is learned. But first you have to realize it, you know what I'm saying? So I had to turn the lens onto me to realize it, then work through those issues, work through that anger, process the trauma that I've been through. I had to process that energy and go deeper and deeper to a point where I was no longer angry. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's always saying it's okay to be angry, but why stay in that anger? You know what I'm saying? Keep going past that anger to a place of understanding, to a place of forgiveness. And that's what I had to do. I had to go further through that pain, through that anger, to a place of understanding and a place of forgiveness. And that place was in the understanding of who I was as an eternal being, and not only who I was, but who the abuser was, right? And the other abusers that came after that, who they were as beings beyond their physical being, beyond what our dynamic was. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, this is learning ground for everybody, right? I had to see beyond what is right and wrong. We look at right and wrong as something that's so definitive because we see ourselves as definitive. The physical eye sees a clear beginning and a clear ending, but we're not that. You know what I'm saying? We're way beyond that. We're way beyond the beginning and the ending. So I chose to live in the eternity, right? The eternal nature of my being. And then in that eternal nature, there's equality, there's love, there's peace, right? There's understanding. There's a matter of forgiveness because I've taken the value of my being out of this 3D world. Understand, like, nothing temporary, including the conditions of this life, tell me who I am. You know what I'm saying? Tell me who that other person is, right? The love I have for the people in my life span beyond this 3D plane. So that's where my forgiveness comes from knowing that they are also children of God, and as children of God, we are perfection, you know? And even if I don't communicate with those people anymore in this life, in this 3D plane, because we're still going through these we still in the we're still here, right? We're still in this world, but not of it, right? So as this lifetime plays out, I'm not in communication with those people anymore. But it doesn't mean that I don't love them. My love is unconditional, right? As I span my awareness beyond the 3D physical plane, I understood more and more what unconditional love is, right? And that's loving beyond the conditions of this world. That's loving myself beyond the conditions of this world and loving others beyond the conditions of this world. You know what I'm saying? But that comes with that distillation process. It comes with having to process all the trauma and all the shame from the guilt that you have of existing through the trials in your life. You know what I'm saying? And having to wash that away, having to go through the process of washing that away in order to see beyond it. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't happen overnight. And it's not about, just being happy go lucky and like, I'm better than this and just rising above it and suppressing. It's not about suppressing. It's going through it. It's clearing it out. You know what I'm saying? So that is no longer a part of you. Those conditions are no longer a part of me. That trauma is no longer a part of me. That pain that I felt from those people is no longer a part of me. You understand? It's really about renewing the mind, renewing the soul. You know what I'm saying? And not renewing the soul, coming back to your awareness of your soul, of your whole self, you know? And that takes time. That takes patience with yourself. That's learning to have compassion for yourself. And when I tell you, it coming from me, like it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, and it's been years I've been working on this, years I've been studying, years I've been meditating on this, years, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't happen overnight because you didn't learn it all overnight. You didn't experience it all overnight. So when you start to shift that focus to yourself and actually want to make that change for yourself, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to teach you to be more compassionate. It's going to teach you to be more patient with yourself. And you have the patience because spirit is going along with you on the journey, teaching you through the whole thing and having patience with you. And you're not doing this for this lifetime. You know what I'm saying? This healing is for your being, you know what I'm saying? So it's outside of space and time. So you have all the time in the world, you know what I'm saying? It's not your healing is not limited by time, So it's okay to have that patience with yourself. That feeling of success is not a destination. It's a becoming. So it's okay to be compassionate when it's hard, through the hard times, you know what I'm saying? Through the hard times of healing is what I'm saying, because it's not going to always be easy, and you fall, there's tests that make you fall right back into what you think you've gotten over, because you think you've gotten over it, but you haven't really. So there are triggers that are going to come up that are going to trigger, Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body. The pain body is the part of ourselves that hold that trauma, that hold the baggage, right? And our pain bodies are triggered by anything, by events that bring up that trauma. You know what I'm saying? And we know it's still there. We know we're holding it in our pain body, or else we wouldn't be triggered by it. So you're clearing your pain body away. You're healing that part of the self, until those triggers no longer trigger you. You know what I'm saying? Until you find a place of understanding beyond anything on this earth, and nothing on this where nothing here can cause you to go back into pain, where you understand your power to heal beyond everything, beyond it all. So the forgiveness of self is the process of loving yourself, loving your mind, body, and spirit. You know what I'm saying? Loving yourself is giving yourself the things that you need, and being soft with yourself. You know what I'm saying? And not talking down to yourself, because talking down to yourself is the indication that there's still that shame there. You know what I'm saying? Is there's still that where you feel like you deserve that type of treatment. You know what I'm saying? When you start to be nice to yourself, when you start to love yourself fully, you're like, you're treating yourself like you would a lover or a best friend. You know what I'm saying? You're going to want to build yourself up. You're going to want to nurture who you are. And you're going to want everything in your circumstance to do the same thing. So those things in your life that are not nurturing you, those things in your life that are not serving your highest good, those things in your life that want to cause you pain, you can cut it out. You know what I'm saying? You cut it out because you love yourself. And this is not a selfish thing. This is necessary because nobody else is going to do it for you, right? Those people who come up against you are people who are not working on themselves, who their focus is not on themselves. But they'll come to a point too where they have to face themselves, where they have to create those boundaries to love themselves fully too, and give themselves what they need, right? As long as they're coming up against you, and then they're in a state where of delusion, where they're not understanding, where they're not seeing their divinity and the eternal nature of their own being. And this does not require you to be judgmental of them, or you to be angry with them at all, or or see them as lower than you in any way. You know what I'm saying? It's you have to see them as yourself. You have to love them as yourself. And when you see yourself in that nature, you will love them as yourself. Maybe, I know in the beginning it was like, it's thinking about loving somebody as yourself, even if they're doing something against you, seems like impossible. But you can love them as yourself, because you see beyond the circumstance. You see their divinity. You see the fact that you've healed so much, and you've lived, you've gotten beyond where you once were. You realize that everybody can do it. That it's not something that is beyond anybody. That everybody has this power within to really stand up and heal themselves, really take the time and the energy and the space to love themselves. So there becomes this, there's this gaining of this type of hope for humanity, rather than seeing people as, seeing all the doom and gloom, and seeing the hearts of people as evil, or as enemies, because that's what's perpetuated in society. This fear mindset is perpetuated in everything that we do. But when you realize that there's nothing to fear within you, you realize there's nothing to fear within anybody else too, and they're of that same spirit as you. You know what I'm saying? So you get this hope, and you want to share. You want to share in love. You want to love other people, because you found the love in yourself, and you found that it's whole. You know what I'm saying? And there's no spaces in you.